Yo, what's up, Broncos country? This is Eddie with Colorado Sports Connection alongside my co host tonight, Mohamed. And tonight we're going to be talking about rookie minicamp, Bo Nix's contract, the schedule release, and the news that came out last week about Russell Wilson. So let's jump right into it. So, Mohamed, Friday was technically the first day of rookie
Mhm.
minicamp, but yesterday we actually got video of the rookies out there, Troy Franklin, Ellis, Bo Nix, and everything. We actually got a couple of videos from the Broncos media out there yesterday. And what was your take? Like, I watched the video of Bo Nix throwing the football. He looked clean out there, a little sketchy on the footwork, but mostly he looked clean. So, what were your thoughts?
It's like you said, like at the beginning, it was kind of hard to find videos and stuff. It was all like pictures and stuff. I'm like, come on, I need to see some videos. And well, he looked good. He looked sharp. I liked his the throws that he made were pretty decent. I saw Franklin catching some balls too. It's good. You could tell that the energy in the building is different too. Like, Sean Payton, George, and all of them. Just it's good. You could tell that this is the beginning of something really good that's about to happen for Broncos country. Very positive, I would say. What did you
Oh,
think?
I completely agree, man. Like, I know Broncos country has been itching, since the draft, since we drafted Bo Nix, because after the draft, you ain't really got a whole lot. I mean, you got the presser with Bo Nix, talking about, how he's happy to be a Broncos country, pretty much just the presser after he gets drafted. And I know Friday they finally posted the first picture on Friday of Bo Nix and a Broncos uniform. And it looked clean, it looked sharp. So people were hungry for it. I mean, they were itching for it. But man,
Yeah.
watching that video yesterday of Bo Nix out there throwing, granted, once again, it's just rookie mini camp. You
Mhm.
ain't got pressure. It ain't a game or nothing. It's not even like training camp. They're not going to show any formations. They're not going to show too much.
Yeah.
But you saw Bo Nix out there slinging the ball around, from under center, from in the shotgun. Um, there was one pass I saw, one piece of the video I saw where, he just bombed the thing down the field to Troy Franklin right on time. And Troy
I saw
Franklin
that.
just
Yeah.
walked right into the end zone.
Yeah.
And I was looking on the video comments of that. People were just super excited. Of course, you had a couple of people like, well, it's just training camp, which is
Mhm.
understandable. But people were ranting and raving. I mean, people are hungry for this, man, especially after last year with Russ and how that whole thing went. And after drafting Bo Nix, people were just hungry for it. You saw Ellis out there, practicing. Like I said, you saw Franklin out there practicing.
Mhm.
You saw Estimate out there practicing. But all in
Mhm.
all, man, just watching the video of Bo Nix throwing the ball, even if it
Exciting.
is just with the mini camp, dude, it's just something to get us, something for Bronco fans.
Exactly.
Um, Also, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about Zach Wilson giving up the number 10 to Bo Nix? That was a big thing this week, too. Going into camp was Zach Wilson giving
Mhm.
Nix the number
Number
10. What did you think about that? You think it was a
Yeah.
classy move?
Yeah. Absolutely. I thought that was a very good gesture that he actually gave him the number, and maybe he's trying to find like be the backup. You know, I don't know. There's some of that in there, but definitely that's good. And even for Zach Wilson, it's a good situation. You got the right coach. If you're trying to show what you got, that maybe you went to the wrong team, and maybe somebody else will, if we cut him or he could get traded or something, it's a good chance for him. So yeah, absolutely. I kind of like that.
Honestly, I like the fact that he gave it to him because I think he's just trying to get in the good graces of the coaching staff
Yeah.
to stay here. Because if there's anybody you want to try to get your career back on track, it's Sean Payton. Try to work with him, and
Mhm.
maybe you can get a pick out of Zach Wilson later in the season. If he looks good enough and someone's desperate hungry for a quarterback, because we saw it
Exactly.
last year with Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
It might not be a high pick, it might be a fifth or a sixth, but still, it's a pick. Um, but no, just out there watching the rookies. Jonah Ellis looked fast. Estimate still looks a little slow because he's beefy. He's a big guy. People were talking about him slimming down, but also at the same time, people were talking about Troy Franklin probably having to beef up a little bit because the kid's skinny. You
Yeah.
know, like if you need him to run block, in the run game, or if you need him to block in the run game, or if someone comes up and presses him, you want him to be able to get off that DB to get down the field. But boy, is he fast. I thought we drafted Marvin Mims last year to be the
Mhm.
speed demon, but I think Franklin's going to be the speed demon. And, they're going to put Mims more in that Judy role to where he's going to be the playmaker. And then you got the big body and Sutton.
Mhm.
But, what do you think of Ellis? What do you think of Troy Franklin and all the other rookies that were out there?
I mean, like with Estime, I mean, he's freaking huge. I mean, he looks like the Hulk. I'm like, who's gonna want to tackle him? Like, God, I mean, he's not that fast. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but hey, what are we gonna be using him for? Third down and just got big hands. Nobody's going to be able to actually strip the ball from him and stuff. Like you said, Troy Franklin is pretty fast. You could tell that there's this chemistry between him and Bo Nix. Absolutely. Joe Ellis, I liked him. Just you really can't see much. Like you said, even with Bo Nix, like there's no pass rush or anything. But it's like you said, we're all kind of like hungry for this, and it's really good to see them wearing the uniform. Rookie minicamp, you see him working with the coaches. You see Sean Payton talking to Bo Nix. I'm like, dude, like he's in the best situation. Seriously, like Bo Nix, he's got the coach compared to the other quarterbacks. He's in the best situation, to succeed. Right? It looks like a perfect marriage, honestly.
Oh, I agree 100%. And the cool thing about it is like if you watch some of those videos and you see some of the pictures, like I'm not saying this didn't happen last year and like
Mhm.
training camp and mini camp, whatever, but like you see Sean Payton out there in the videos, you see him in the pictures talking to Bo Nix. He's smiling, he's like,
Mhm.
directing him what to do. He actually looks like, he's like, hey, I got my guy.
Mhm.
This is a good thing. We're gonna tear it up this year. Like he
Yeah.
seems like he's really comfortable. Bo seems like he's comfortable in the system. Him and Sean are getting along great. And if that's the one thing we know is that the quarterback and head coach, that marriage has to work. They have to be happy together. Otherwise, it won't work. But just watching him out there, even I seen a few bits of Drain out there too.
Mhm.
He's quick. He's out there. I mean, granted, once again, it's rookie minicamp. You can't take too much into account, but
Mhm.
he looked fast out there. I mean, they them doing drills and everything. Every ball that I seen go his way, he caught. Drain. Same with Franklin.
Mhm.
But honestly, outside of Bo Nix, who is the one rookie you're really looking forward to? Personally, for me, I would have to say people would say probably like Troy Franklin or maybe even Drain. I'm saying Joe Ellis because I can't wait to see that pass rush. Like if the like I know a lot of people in the league nowadays they like the offense. They want the offense. They want the deep passes because the league's all about offense nowadays. I'm still a defensive guy. That's
Mhm.
what I grew up watching. That was one of my favorite things. Just watching defense get after the quarterback, making big, pass breakups down the field, big interceptions. The pass rushers getting after the quarterback and just chasing him. Ellis, in my opinion, that's the guy I'm really excited to see outside of Bo Nix this year. Who's yours?
And like Eddie, for me, I love defenses just like you. I like pass rush and everything, but to me, the running game with Estime and Williams, like that's just like, oh my God, I just can't wait for that to happen. Just pounding the ball, just driving the ball down their throat, just keep getting that defense tired and stuff. I can't wait for that to happen. But absolutely, man. I mean, Joe Ellis. I mean, we definitely need that. We didn't have that, since what Von Miller left, and you know, but I think our defense is going to be sneaky good this year. I really think so. I think it's going to start with that line too. It's going to definitely be better than last year. I would say. Linebacker, I'm not sure. I don't think that has been addressed 100%, but we shall see.
Yeah, but no, I understand. I get that completely, and that's the other exciting thing about it because now with Ellis coming in my opinion, just like Estime, because the running back room's full, and so is the pass rush room. I mean, in the pass rush, you got Baron Browning, you got Nick Benito, you got Jonathan Cooper. Now you got Ellis. In the running back room, you got Estime, you got Williams, you got P. Ryan, you got McLaughlin.
Mhm.
And honestly, it all depends on what they do with Drew Sanders, too. Are they going to put him back on the outside like they had him last year? Or are they going to put him back in that middle linebacker position? Because we know Singleton's here for another year. You went out and signed Burton, another inside linebacker. I don't see how they're going to be able to put Sanders at edge. You got too many people at edge. I mean, after Singleton and Burton, you really don't. I mean, you got Jonas Griffith coming back this year, but after that, you really don't. And that's even if he's, good enough. Like I'm not trying to say he's bad, but he's coming off an injury.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do with inside linebacker? I really like them to try to keep Drew Sanders. I mean, if he's good on the edge, put him there. But they really need, like you said, figure out
Mhm.
that middle linebacker position, man. They really need to figure that out. And I think Drew Sanders, now that with Ellis on the, outside, I think they'd be better putting Sanders in the middle portion and try to, develop him there because they need they need an inside backer to protect that
Exactly.
middle of that field. Because Singleton, good run stuffer, not so good in pass pro. But like I said, Ellis to me, like that's the other thing. Who's going to be the starting two at the pass rushing position this year? Is it going to be Cooper and Bear and Browning like it was last year? Or will Ellis? I mean, there's probably going to be a competition, I'm sure, but is Ellis going to win that competition? And if he does, who's he going to beat out? Personally, I think he's more likely to beat out Jonathan
Cooper.
Cooper than
Yeah.
Bear and Browning.
Mhm.
And then at the same time, like say he does, and okay, it's Ellis and Browning on the outside starters.
I would actually love that.
And then you got backups and Jonathan
Hmm.
Cooper, solid. And then you got Nick Benito, who I've said in the past,
Hmm.
I didn't think he really took much of a step forward last year. Maybe he will this year, I hope. And those could be our rotational guys. But speaking of the running back room, same thing with that. It's like, what are you going to do? I mean, I like the combination of having Javante and Esime, two big bowling ball guys that are, no one's going to want to tackle,
No.
especially whenever it gets cold and it's winter outside and it's freezing, especially here in Denver with the altitude. Like you're at these big, bowling ball types of running backs just plowing through each other. No one's going to want to tackle either one. So that's the thing with that. Who is the odd man out in your opinion in the running back room? Is it P. Ryan, McLaughlin, Javante? Even I know some people even said that he could be on the trading block or out the door with the estimate pick. But who's your choice of being out of the running back room? Who's the odd man out there?
I would hate to say it, but I think it's Spiron. That's
Yeah,
what it's looking like to me. I mean, I like what he did last year, but I mean, it's a really good problem to have if you think about it, Eddie. It's a good problem to have, but yeah, that's probably who it's gonna be. We'll wait and see what's gonna happen in training camp and all that, but that's what it's looking like.
yeah, it is a good problem to have. Just like with the pass rush room, you got all those
Yeah.
pass rushers. It's a good problem to have.
Mhm.
But you can honestly say the same thing with the cornerback room, because yes, I understand Riley Moss. He hasn't had the chance to show what he is. He's still the unknown. Same with Drain. He's a rookie, but you know what PS2 is. He's of course the number one corner. You got McMillan. He's going to be your slot corner. He's going to be the nickel. Everybody knows that. That's where he plays good. He's gonna be that guy to stay in the slot to where he can cover tight ends, maybe cover that third wide receiver in the slot. So, but you still got. I mean, granted, there's some people out there that still think Damari Mathis could be something. I personally don't. I think he showed me enough last year that he's not going to be that guy. But I could be wrong. He might turn it around this year. I don't know. But same with the cornerback room. We bring in, Drain. You got all these young guys that are competing for that second, that cornerback number two. And honestly, I hope Drain takes it. Like I said, I don't trust Amari Mathis. Riley Moss, maybe. I don't know. Like he's great on special teams, but we didn't really get to see him a whole lot. A few times last year, and whenever he was on the field, he was okay. But he was a rookie. So maybe it'll take another year, but yeah, like good problems to have. They really are. But I
But
mean,
Eddie, like, yeah, Mathis is probably. I think Mathis is a liability, to be honest with you. But I think the Broncos this year, since they just got their quarterback, they're kind of like trying to see what they have, where their weaknesses are, and then I guess next season we're gonna have what 120 million cap space,
yeah,
and we can
and
go
all
to
your draft
free
picks.
agency. Exactly, free agency and the draft. I think will be good. So they're really gonna wait and see, what's gonna
But
happen. But
I,
the future is
I'm
bright.
hoping that these young guys like Drain,
Mhm.
Ellis, Estime, I hope they break out. I hope they turn the studs because then right there you got running back. that position is going to be good. Cornerback will be good. Pass rush will be good. You'll have
Exactly.
those studs there that are good. They're on rookie deals. That way, next year, whenever you go into free agency and the draft, you like you said, 120 million cap space. You can build that offensive line up more. Maybe get yourself a tight end. Maybe get an inside linebacker or a safety or God, should I say it, a defensive line.
Yeah.
I like Myers. I like Allen. DJ Jones, to me, I mean, I really don't think he's that good, but I think they like even if you got your starters, say DJ Jones is good and he's solid, you can use him this year. You don't have any depth there. You need depth on the defensive line. And honestly, dare I say, the offensive line, you need depth. Like, I think next year they be smart. Hopefully, these young guys pan out, like Drain, Estime, Ellis, all pan out, turn into superstars. Maybe not even superstars, but solid players that can get after the quarterback, make plays in the secondary, and just bust big runs for big gains. That way, you like, okay, I got these positions filled. I got the quarterback filled with Bo Nix. I almost said Drew Lock. I don't want to say that. Um,
Yeah.
but if Bo Nix balls out, you got the quarterback, you got all these other positions filled, and you can start working on the defensive line and the offensive line, for starters and depth, and then you're solid. You got all these young guys on rookie contracts, and you can take that money and you can, use it for, good defenders on the defensive line or solid offensive linemen. Because that's another one. Another big hole on this roster, which they drafted that rookie, the guard, I forgot what Gurulo, I can't really say his name.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they drafted him, but he was a seventh round pick. We don't know what he's going to pan out. We don't know who the center is going to be. We know that's going to be another competition in itself. I mean, I don't think the young guy, Grulo, his name is. I keep butchering. I know I do. But maybe he wins the starting job. Maybe they brought him in. I know it says he's a guard, but he could probably play center. Now you got like 3 or 4 guys competing for that center position. You know, maybe, and none of them pan out. You're going to need a center going into next season. So, I mean, just a lot of things they need to do. But I was happy with what I've seen out of all the rookies in training camp. I'm sorry, not training camp, rookie mini camp.
Okay, okay,
I'm
yeah.
happy with what I've seen. Granted, it's only, rookie mini camp, so I'm not going to get too far out over my skis. But with that said, we saw a couple of rookies a couple of weeks ago sign their rookie deals. But over the last couple of days, one of the big ones was Bo Nix signing his contract. 4 years, 18.61
Mhm.
million. Full, or yeah, I believe it was fully guaranteed. What were your thoughts on it?
I was actually happy. I didn't think he wasn't going to sign it or anything. That's actually good, a good deal for him, I guess. But absolutely exciting. We don't have to worry about that now. We got him locked for 4 years. So
With the fifth
hopefully,
year option?
yeah, exactly. Hopefully, he gets a second and a third contract.
I believe he will. Under Sean
Yeah,
Payton, I believe he will get a second or third contract. And also, if I did the math right, 18.61 million, I think averages out to 4.6 million a year.
exactly. Yeah.
So you got you got 3 quarterbacks on the roster right now. Stidham, I think, is making 5 million, but if you cut or 8 million, but if you cut Stidham, you save 5 million. Your rookie quarterback is making 4.6, and Zach Wilson, I think they're only paying him like 2.5 million
Something
this
like that.
year, and they didn't pick up his fifth year option, which I wouldn't assume they would have.
Mhm.
But with that said, we know like Sean Payton was asked about after Bo Nix's contract signing. Sean Payton was asked, who's the starter going to be? And of course, Sean Payton's not going to come straight out and say Bo Nix is the starter.
Mhm.
They're going to have, which I would say it is a quarterback competition. We all know behind closed doors, unless Bo Nix falls on his face in
Mhm.
training camp, he's going to be the week 1 starter. But with that said, with the way the NFL is going nowadays, most teams only carry 2 quarterbacks. Who do you think the quarterback backup is going to be, and who do you think is going to be the odd man out? And coming from Graham here, 4.26,
2.6.
or yeah. So yeah, about 4.2, or I'm
That's
sorry,
close to five. Yeah.
4.6. Yeah. So, but who do you think the odd man is out now that we have our quarterback of the future?
I don't know, Eddie. Like I think Zach Wilson is gonna win that backup. I have this feeling that he's gonna be the backup. I know Broncos country are saying that from what I heard that he's not like He's not. He's probably gonna get. He's not. He's gonna be like the third quarterback, but he has a chance. I mean, he was a first round pick. Um, for God's sake, I mean, why not? But I mean, it doesn't matter. We all know it's gonna be Bo Nix. It's gonna be the starter. But I'm kind of leaning towards Zach Wilson. You know.
Yeah, I can't really say. Like, I want Zach Wilson to get the backup role
Mhm.
because it'd be nice. Like I said, one quarterback is making, our rookie quarterback's making 4.6 million. Um, Zach Wilson's only making 2.5 million. And then, the most out of all those quarterbacks is going to be Jared Stidham. But see, here's the thing: unless Stidham outright beats Zach Wilson in the competition,
Mhm.
I wouldn't even bother carrying three quarterbacks. Like, you're already paying 30 something million to Russ, not even be on your team for the quarterback room. You're paying the rookie 4.5 million basically. You're paying Zach Wilson 2.5 million. You're paying like I said, Stidham, I think it's like 8 or 7 million this year. But if you cut Stidham, you save 5 million.
Mhm.
So, like I said, unless Stidham outright just destroys Zach Wilson in the backup competition this year, I think he will be gone. I agree with you, Mohamed. I think Zach Wilson will be the backup. But the thing is like a lot of people were talking like, oh, well, who would you rather have, Bo Nix get, sit on the bench and, actually learn from a little bit? Would you rather have him learn from Zach Wilson or Jarrett Stidham? And honestly, I'm just like, I I can't really pick. Like, I can't say Zach Wilson because I mean I don't think he's gonna
Right.
learn much from him,
Nah.
honestly. Jarrett Stidham, he might learn a
Mhm.
little something, maybe, but at the same time, like if I could save 5 million in my quarterback room after I'm paying all this money to Russ, you're paying 4.5 million to the rookie, you're paying 2.5 million to Zach Wilson. If I could save 5 million, I'm gonna do it.
And see,
What do you
like Eddie, for me, like Stidham, I just don't see anything special with him. I'm sorry, like I don't get it. Like even like last year, those 3 games he played, 2 games.
2 games?
Just yeah, exactly. It was just boring. I'm like, that was my fear that we are not going to get a quarterback from the draft, and that's gonna be oh my god. I'm glad that didn't happen. But hey, yeah, I mean, what is he gonna learn? I mean, if we're going logically, yes, you would say Stidham might have more information or more things to teach Bo Nix, compared to Zach Wilson. But hey, if Zach Wilson wins, which I believe is gonna happen, you could cut Stidham and hey, just carry 2 quarterbacks. Why not? Let's do it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And plus, like I think Bo Nix and Zach Wilson are the same age. I think Stidham's a few years older than both. I think he's like 26 or 27, if I
Mhm.
remember correctly. And Bo Nix and Zach Wilson are both 24. But yeah, I would like to have both young guys in the room because personally, like even though a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Zach Wilson, he's a bust, he's garbage," he whatever in New York. I'm like, I do kind of somewhat agree with that, but at the same time, I look at this coach. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
young quarterbacks with a defensive minded head coach do not work. It just doesn't work. They don't care about
No.
developing a young guy. All they care about is the defense. And if anybody should know that, it's Broncos country because we went through it with freaking Vic
Drew
Fangio and Drew Lock a couple of
Yeah.
years back, where you had a good offensive coordinator that was working well with Drew, and then you fire him because Vic's like, I don't want to deal with the offense or a young OC. I want to get someone in here that's a veteran OC to run the offense where I got to pay attention to it. And we all know how well that worked out for us. So I do like the fact of like I said, and like I said earlier in this video, I'd rather Zach Wilson be the guy. Him show something in training camp and preseason. This is the way I see Stidham maybe making the roster. Like I said, Zach Wilson goes out there in preseason training camp. He shows something. Sean Payton makes him look a little bit better. And maybe by the start of the season, you can squeeze a sixth or a fifth out of Zach Wilson from some other team. Or you sit him on the bench. Maybe they do carry three quarterbacks, keep Stidham around. They carry three quarterbacks, and then halfway through the season, some team, loses their quarterback, whatever, for the season or a couple of games, and they're desperate for a quarterback just like Josh Dobbs last year. And they come knocking to the Broncos door saying, hey, we'll give you a fifth or dare I say a fourth for Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
You do it.
Exactly.
You get
Absolutely.
you get an extra fourth round pick for next year's draft, and then you still have your backup at Stidham, who I think is a career backup. just like Wilson, I think they're both career backups. But it's like, yeah, you can save the 5 million, but what's more important to you at this point? Save him. I mean, Stidham's gone after this year anyway.
True.
So you can save 5 million in the season, or you can get an extra draft pick. Which way would you go?
Um, it's hard to tell. I guess save the 5 million. I would say, but you know, Eddie, like when I think about it, if you're in a situation where you have to use your backup, you know, God forbid, what's the point? Like, I mean, your season is pretty much over for the most part, right? So,
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess
it
it doesn't.
depends.
You know,
It just depends. Like, is your starter out for like a week or two, or is he out for the entire season?
yeah, yeah.
Like if God forbid, I'm not saying knock on wood. I'm not
Mhm,
saying I want Bo Nix to get hurt or nothing. I'm not wishing that.
mhm.
But if he does go down with an injury, hopefully it's only like maybe a week or two. Who would you trust more running Sean Payton's offense? Zach Wilson or Jared Stidham? And like I said, that comes to the same aspect. Like
Mhm.
maybe Sean does carry all three. Maybe
Yeah.
he's like, with the way quarterback injuries have been over the last couple of years, I think it's smart. But at the same time, the NFL's got that new rule to where you keep a guy on your practice squad, I believe it is, and you can activate a quarterback on game day. It won't take up a roster spot just in case you need him for an emergency, all because of that Brock Purdy injury that happened a few seasons back in the
Mhm.
playoffs. Remember that?
Yeah.
They lost Brock Purdy, and then their backup came in, got hurt, and then they literally had CMC out there playing quarterback, or Brock Purdy who couldn't throw, just handing the ball off. So maybe it's possible he keeps three, or maybe it's possible Stidham, stays in as the backup. They put Zach Wilson on the practice squad and they elevate him, on game days. But then, like the trade deadline comes along and they're like, hey, you know, a team comes calling, say like, some team loses their quarterback for the year, like, hey, we'll give you a fourth or a fifth for Zach Wilson.
Mhm.
At that same time, we're like, okay, cool. I'm glad I hung on to Jared Stidham because now
Exactly.
I need him. Because if you let Zach Wilson be the backup, then it's like, okay, some team comes knocking, offers you a fourth, you can't pass on that. You take the fourth, and now you don't have a backup. You have to go out and sign a guy off the street. But yeah, I agree with you, Mohammed. I honestly think Zach Wilson will be the backup, and I'm just throwing these things out there. Like anything can happen in the NFL, but I honestly think Sean Payton's only going to carry two quarterbacks, and I think Zach Wilson's going to be the backup, and of course Bo Nix the starter. I don't think Sean Payton's going to waste any time. And Bo Nix, like I said, Bo Nix is going to have to fall flat on his face for him not to be the starter week one. Like he's gonna, I mean, have to go into training camp or preseason and throw like 6 picks a day, just missing wide open guys, kind of like Russ did last year. And in absolute garbage for him not to get the starting job. So with that said, let's move into our next point that we had tonight, the NFL schedule. Um, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Now, the schedule has not came out yet. It comes out
Mhm.
on Wednesday. But outside, like every year, whenever the schedule comes out, we know we play Kansas City, the Raiders, and we play the Chargers twice a
Chargers.
year.
Yeah.
But the one game I've been looking forward to over the last couple of years, every single year the schedule comes out, is the Kansas City game. Because before we beat them last year, the streak was on the line. I always wanted to play Kansas City because I'm like, I want that streak to end. That's the game I'm looking forward to because I can't wait to watch that streak end. But this year, a lot of people have different opinions and thoughts on this. But me personally, I want Pittsburgh week one in Denver. Russell Wilson comes back to Denver, and Bo Nix just lights him up.
Oh
Which
man.
are you looking forward to this year?
Oh my, same thing. Same thing. I really hope they do that. You know, hey, the NFL might. You know, might. Maybe they'll flex the game. Maybe make it like a Sunday night or a Monday night game. That'll
Yeah,
be something. That would definitely be something. Um, we shall see what happens, but that'll be really exciting. Another team I'm looking forward to is the Raiders. I just
yeah,
hate their guts. I want, yeah, I really want that streak to be over.
yeah.
Absolutely. At least one game. Come on.
No, I agree. Like
Mhm.
after the Pittsburgh game, the next one, like we got the monkey off our back last year with Kansas City. Like,
Mhm.
I honestly, a lot of Bronco fans hate the Raiders more than the Chiefs in Broncos country, and I understand that. But me personally, I've always hated Kansas City more. Like Raiders, they don't bother me because they never do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could say the same thing for the Chiefs growing up as a kid for me, but it was just the fact that me growing up in St. Louis, growing up in Missouri,
Mm-hmm.
and just being surrounded by them, being a Broncos fan, they were always talking so much smack whenever they weren't good. They weren't doing nothing.
Can you
That's
imagine
why,
now?
yeah, definitely. But that's the reason why I hate KC more. Maybe I'm the odd one out, but most Bronco fans hate the Raiders more than anything. Me personally, I hate KC because of that reason. But now that we got that monkey off our back with KC last year, I agree with you. After the Pittsburgh game and the Russell Wilson game, with Pittsburgh, I just want us to destroy Russ. I want us to destroy Pittsburgh. I want Bo Nix to throw for like 300 yards, like 4 TDs, and Russ throws like 3 interceptions and no touchdowns. Like, I just want us to kick the living crap out of them. And then after that, I agree with you. I want it to be the Raiders. Like, that's the game I want. I want us to finally snap that streak. I don't care if it's in Kansas City. I don't care if, Madden numbers. I know, trust me. But still, that's the way I want. I just want Russell Wilson to be over there like this,
It's gonna happen.
just so mad, knowing that a rookie came in and ran Sean Payton's offense so much better than he ever did. But then after that, like I said, yeah, the Raiders, I want us to snap that streak, man. Like I can't stand, like, for me growing up, it was always the Chiefs were number one. I hated it was the Patriots after that because of Tom Brady and all that. I hated them. And then it was the Raiders for me personally. Chargers, I really don't care about because they never do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But after the Pittsburgh and Raiders games, like, the only other game I am looking forward to is the Kansas City game. Is there any other games on the schedule you're looking forward to outside of those two?
Maybe the Saints. I don't know
Oh,
because of
I
the
forgot
connection.
about that.
We do play them, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if we play them here at home or if we play them in New Orleans.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Sean Payton's revenge game.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be amazing. Like, I
Mhm.
honestly, personally, I hope it's in New Orleans because I want to see how the Saints fans react to Sean Payton coming back to New Orleans, playing or coaching the Broncos. That's what I would like to see. And could you
I don't see them
imagine?
like booing him or anything. You know, he got him a Super Bowl, so.
I don't know. I mean, I
Mhm.
I can't say. Like, I can speak for Broncos country because I know a lot of Broncos country. Like,
Mhm.
say Gary Kubiak or Mike Shanahan were to go, like, unless they play for the or coach the Chargers or the Raiders or the Chiefs, but if they coach some other team and they came back to Denver or he came back to Denver to coach whatever team he was coaching, I
Mhm.
think Broncos country would stand up and applaud him because Broncos country actually has class. But I can't say the same for every other team out there. I don't know what the Saints fans would do, but I would like to see Sean Payton go into their house and beat them
Get a
on
W.
their home turf,
Mhm.
and then see how the fans react after that. What do you think about that?
Oh man, yeah, that's gonna be something. That's gonna be classic, man. I mean, him going back there and getting a W and leaving. Yeah, I don't see
Yeah,
them. They're not gonna like that.
no, they won't. Especially if Derek Carr is their quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or what if by the time we play them, if it is in New Orleans, what if Spencer Rattler's starting? It'll be rookie versus rookie, and Sean Payton come back home. Like, I think that would be bad, honestly. Like, if Spencer Rattler, for whatever reason, is starting for the Saints and he beats Bo Nix, oh God, you would never hear the end of that from Broncos country, in my opinion.
Why did we pick him so high? We could have just got Spencer. What did they
Yeah,
get him? Like fifth
exactly.
round, sixth round, something like that.
I think they got him in the fifth round.
Fifth round, yeah,
And that was another one that Sean Payton was high on. People were talking about, most
yeah.
national media were talking about. It was like, oh, if it's not Bo Nix, Sean Payton's really high on Spencer Rattler. So, but I don't think that would happen. I think if we do play the Saints, or when we do play the Saints, it's going to be Derek Carr because I don't see the Saints benching him, and I don't think. Well, Derek Carr is a pretty healthy guy. I don't think he gets hurt that much. So,
But
yeah,
see,
I think.
another thing, Eddie, like Bonix, and I know we talked about this. Bonix sounded like really mature, like during his press conference.
Yeah,
Very mature, like and very confident, poised, you know. And then same thing with Sean Payton, when you could tell us he's way more relaxed now. He's happy, he's smiling, he's not snapping on anybody.
No, oh
So
God.
yeah,
Because
like I said, the energy is just different. I like that.
I think Sean Payton knows finally. Like I'm not like a lot of people were comping Bo Nix to Drew Brees
Yeah.
before the draft. And I think Sean Payton is like even that report that came out before or after the draft that Sean Payton sees the same thing in Bo Nix as he saw in Patrick Mahomes, but it's like I think Sean Payton's happy in the sense that he knows he has a quarterback that can operate his offense. He can make the checks at the line of scrimmage. He can see the blitzer coming. He can make change up protections. He can do all that. Russell Wilson, like I've talked about in recent podcasts, that he would get up to the line and just say set hut and just take the ball. You didn't see him up there like I'm not saying Bo Nix is going to be Peyton Manning or like Peyton Manning or one of these other quarterbacks, even like Tom Brady, just like hey, check. This guy's coming here. That guy's coming there. Change up the protection. Tight end, stay in block. Protect from the extra blitzer. Russ didn't do that. Bo Nix doesn't. We see it a lot in college. But with that said, with the schedule, with all the teams we just talked about and all the other ones, I think the whole AFC North is in there. I think the Steelers are in there. The Ravens. We play the Bengals and the Browns this year. I think that's the only, outside of our divisional games. That's the one division we play. I know there's another division in there, but I can't remember who it is. Maybe the NFC South. I don't know if we play them. I think the Panthers actually. Yeah, I think they
Yeah,
come
we do.
to.
You play the Panthers.
So we play the NFC South. We play the Bucks, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Falcons. Which that's another one I wanted to bring up real quick. What if we play the Falcons and Michael Penix is starting for them? Because Kirk Cousins ain't ready, and it's like early in the season, he's not ready to go. And we play the Falcons like early in the season, Michael Penix versus Bo Nix. That would be a heck of a matchup. I would like to see that
Ooh.
one too.
Yes, that would definitely flex that game.
Oh, definitely. Two rookies going
I'm
head to head, the eighth overall pick and the 12th overall pick. Whew. But
I was so
with that,
happy the Raiders didn't pick Penix. I'm glad he went on the eighth round. I was really high on him because of arm strength and all that. But
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. Like I think the Raiders just got really screwed. I think honestly we got lucky that a lot of people were shocked that, oh my God, why did the Falcons take, Penix at 8 whenever, they brought in Kirk Cousins, which tells me like people say, oh, they're planning for the future. I think the Falcons know that they signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year deal, I believe it was, for like 180 million. This tells me them drafting Penix tells me that they don't think Kirk Cousins is going to be ready to go by the start of the season. They're going to have the rookie come in and probably play, be the starter at the start of the season because they don't think Cousins is going to be, 100% healthy at the start of the season, which is possible. That's what I personally think. Like, why would you spend the 8th overall pick? Like, you got 4 years with Kirk Cousins, unless, Kirk came in and said, hey, I'm going to play for a couple years, depending on how it goes, or maybe a year. And if it doesn't go well, I'm going to retire. So maybe that's why they took Penix too. I don't know. But with all that said, what do you see the Broncos' record being with the schedule release?
um, it's kind of hard to tell. 9 games, 9, 10 wins. Just if I'm being modest, we'll have to see how the I guess the season unfolds. But that's where I'm looking at Eddie.
Okay.
9, maybe 10 wins.
Well, also, I wanted to throw this at you too. They said the Broncos, I think, had the third or the fourth easiest schedule this year. Like our schedule is the third or fourth easiest in the league.
Oh
Like,
wow.
so with that said, I mean, I'm not going to go too crazy. I'm not going to be like, 13, 14, 15 wins. I'm not going to go
Mhm.
up there. But honestly, the Broncos, depending on how Bo Nix plays, how well he picks up the offense, how fast he does, how, just all together this team looks like I think we'll know a lot more by this, through preseason, but, and how this team's going to be constructed by the start of it. But, I would have to say anywhere from 8 to about 11 wins is where I'm sitting. And 11 is being really, really, hopeful. Like Bo Nix pops, he's going to be like CJ Stroud next year,
Yeah.
or like CJ Stroud was last year. He just blows up. If he does that, I can possibly see 11 wins out of this team. But I'm leaning between, like I said, 8 to 11. But I'm probably right at that. Probably about 9 or 10 wins is what I'm
Yeah.
looking at. But like I said, fourth easiest schedule. Like I said, Bo Nix comes out, he just lights it up, 11 wins. But if he comes out, and there's some growing pains, which I'm assuming there probably will be, not just with him, but with all these young guys.
Rookies, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I'd say, yeah, about 9 to 10 wins. Like, I mean, we won 8 games last year. Uh, 7 were won by Russ, 1 was won by Stidham. So if Bo Nix is really that upgrade, even as a rookie, like you said, he's mature, he's 24, he has a family, he's married,
Exactly.
he's not out there doing all this crazy stuff. He's good at the line of scrimmage. He knows how to do the checks, as we talked about. He knows how to do all this stuff. We should expect at least, at the bare minimum, 8 wins. If Sean Payton was able to get 7 wins out of Russ, who literally couldn't even, no, he didn't even know the playbook. He couldn't even run it to its full potential.
Yeah.
And if Bo Nix is really that guy who can run the playbook to the full potential that Sean Payton thinks he can, there's no reason why we should lose, or not win any more than 8 to 9 to 10 games.
Mhm.
Which is getting into our last portion of the video. Last week, a report came out that um, Russell Wilson and Sean Payton was frustrated, and so were some of his teammates, that Russ could not run the full playbook. He couldn't do it. At first, they say he started with a wristband, which a lot of quarterbacks do. Heck, I've seen Tom Brady wear one.
Mhm.
But the worst part about it is that towards the end of the season, Russ, they had to dumb down the playbook basically to 2 words and only ran like not even 25% of Sean Payton's playbook, only ran like maybe 8 plays total every game. And it had to be dumbed down to 2 words for Russ to run it. And all the rest of the team had to know the playbook. What are your thoughts on this?
Honestly, Eddie, I was really shocked when I heard that. I mean, I knew he wasn't the best quarterback as far as the fit with Sean Payton, but that was kind of shocking to me. I mean, the guy went to 2 Super Bowls, right? I mean,
Yep.
I guess the Seahawks knew it all along. They just tricked us into, getting that deal. Just like it's crazy, right? I mean, come on,
You're a
you know.
12-year veteran. You're getting
I know.
paid $250 million. I think it was 160 of it guaranteed. You won a Super Bowl. You went to 2, and you literally couldn't run an offense. You couldn't run an NFL style offense. I understand. Sean Payton's offense is very difficult. We heard this last year during preseason and training camp. Sean Payton's offense, there's a lot of, language. There's all kinds of different stuff in it. It's very hard to understand and learn. But come on, Russ. You're getting paid top of the quarterback market money. You are a 12-year vet. You should be able to handle at least half of this playbook. Maybe not 100%, even 25%. I think they were only running maybe like 10% of Sean Payton's playbook last year.
And we still won like 8 games.
Yeah. And it wasn't because of Russ. Like people want to say, oh, well, he had 26 touchdowns and interceptions. I'm like, yeah, because Sean Payton literally had to
Sean
dumb down
Payton,
the
yeah.
playbook. Like, we know how many wins Russ is on his own. 4. That's it. He's worth 4 wins based on the season of 2022. Because one of those games, we had 5 wins in 2022, but one of those games wasn't even, Russ didn't even play. He was out. He was injured. And we won. I think it was the game with, I can't remember who it was that was starting that game, but I think it was against the Cardinals here in Denver. I was just after I moved to Denver. They won that game against the Cardinals, and I think it was I forgot his name. But anyway, we won with a young guy that nobody thought we were going to win with, even against the Cardinals, and we even struggled to beat them. But come on, man. You are a 12-year vet that went to 2 Super Bowls, and you can't run a freaking playbook. You can't even run 25% of it. Like, that's ridiculous. And the fact that I only had to be, that's like college level stuff.
But see, Eddie,
2 words.
that explains why Sean Payton was yelling at him because everybody was like, "What is going on?" I guess Sean Payton was really frustrated.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
you would be too. Like, and I was watching all these videos last year of, all these people talking about the quarterback, and doing deep dives into the film. You see all these guys, like earlier in the season, Well, I guess Sean Payton was trying to run a little bit more of the playbook. Hopefully, Russ could run it because, like I said, by the end of the season, you know, he wasn't. Oh, by the end of the season, they had to dumb it down to 2 words and everything. So, but maybe at the start of the season, he trusted Russ a little bit more than at the end. Just trying to see what all he could do. And you see the timing routes. You see these guys coming across the middle, getting ready to come open, wide open, where they could get big games like Judy, Sutton, all these guys. And Russ, instead of just sitting in the pocket like he should and throwing the ball, with timing and precision, bails out. 3-step drop, bails. And yeah, that would drive any offensive coach that designs these plays crazy, like absolutely bonkers. The play's good. The guys are going to come open, and you probably could have won a lot more games if Russ would have just sat in the pocket and delivered the ball with time. But we all know that's not Russ's forte. That's not what he does. He is an improviser. He is a, bailout, make something great happen with your legs, and he's just at that age where he can't do it anymore. He can't outrun defensive linemen. So, I mean, what do you think, Mohamed? Like that's just to me that they literally had to dumb it down to 2 words. That's
I mean,
college
like,
level.
yeah, it is shocking, and it kind of explains a lot, like what Sean Payton was dealing with around that time. And then the antics. He wanted his own office, his own parking space. He wanted this, he wanted that, and then you can't even learn the playbook. It's crazy. Hey, I'm glad he's not our problem anymore. Let the Steelers deal with him. And honestly, like, he should just retire. I don't even know why you kind of robbed us. If you thought about it, you got paid. Just
I think
retire.
I think this year the way they split up the dead cap for Russ this year, because we know we had to pay him for 2 years. They split up the dead cap. They split it up. I think we're paying 53 million this year, and then next year we're paying 32 million. We're taking more of the dead cap this year, so that next year we don't have as much. And that's why we're going to have so much money in free agency next year, is because most of the contract we're dealing with this year. But man, like that explains so much why Sean Payton was just constantly like this on the sideline, at just mad at the post game conferences, man, and just yelling at Russ on the sideline. It's like you're making top tier quarterback money. You're making more than Patrick freaking Mahomes, who's won, I hate to say it, 3 Super Bowls in the past 6 years. And you can't even run an NFL style offense. You can't do it. You can literally only run a college. Like, ain't that what a college, like
Pretty
the
much.
lower college ranks are? It's like one word, like Megatron. That's
That's it.
that's the play call. And they go out there and they run it. Everybody knows what to do. That's basically what they had to do with Russell Wilson in Denver in the NFL.
Mhm.
Hey,
Yeah.
Skippy Purple, that's the name of the play call. Go out there and run it. Everybody else had to know it. It's like, why are we paying this guy so much money?
And Bonex is exactly the opposite. You know,
Yep.
he's got a
You can get,
premium processor up there.
it's like he's got a CPU up here, You can give it like, I remember someone saying this. I remember watching a podcast the other day of this. Someone saying, oh, in the huddle, Sean Payton's gonna, I think they did this, they did this with him too before they drafted him. They sent him all those pages of everything, to go through to see if he can nail it. They were having, they were like the day they went out there and they had him throw the ball, like I think it was like a close like pro day, just like the Broncos and Bo Nix. Sean Payton would read like 3 plays into him at once and be like, here's 3 plays, go out there, look at the defense, do your checks, whatever, and check into the right, play. That way you can, make something. And he was nailing it. He was crushing it, they said. Russell Wilson, you couldn't do that. You couldn't be like, hey, Russ, run this play. Here's 3 plays. Go out there, whatever you see from the defense, check into the best play available at that time and go from there. You couldn't do that. Russ would be like, it'd be like calculus to a kindergartner for him. It really would.
That's so
He'd be like,
sorry.
5 times 2 plus 30 plus, whatever. He
Can you
couldn't do
explain
it.
it one more time, right?
Yeah, like, what was that? I couldn't hear you, coach.
Uh,
Oh, we're just going to run pancake? Okay.
no.
It's like
Mm.
he couldn't do it. And you're paying him $250 million. That to me is just flat out ridiculous when you can go out and get a rookie for not even a quarter of the cost that Russ is taken from you. And he can run that. He can do all that. He can run Sean Payton's offense to its full potential and honestly probably win you more games with his smarts at the line of scrimmage, him and Sean Payton together.
Yeah.
Like, it's just wild to me, dude. Like, and then there was that one clip, I'm pretty sure you've seen it. There was a clip where Sean Payton had, I think he had like two crossers or a post or something and a crosser coming
Mhm.
across the middle. You see, I think it was Jerry Jeudy coming open like right at the second. Russ drops back, hits his back foot, and the second he hits his back foot, Judy's coming open, and he just bails out. Mike McGlinchey is doing the best he can to block. He's doing a good job. I mean, he's just like he's got the guy. He's got
Mhm.
him on the outside to where Russ can sit back there and make a throw off his back foot, but instead Russ bails out, comes up into the pocket, and the pass rusher had the inside leverage and sacked Russ. And you see the offensive lineman after that play. You see McGlinchey, I think it was Meisner, and P. Ryan just look at him on the ground, just walk off the field. They didn't even bother helping him up.
Yeah.
What do you think of
Frustration.
that? Have you seen that clip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That,
mean, and there was like multiple situations where he would like miss open receivers, and you could tell that they're frustrated. And
because it makes
yeah,
it the offensive line look bad.
exactly.
Like
It
you
does.
said, they're looking like that. We heard that all season with him too. Like
Mhm.
you would see Russ. I mean, I think he cut his sacks down. Last year he had 55 in 2022. This past year he had 45. So they cut his sacks and down by 10. He went from 55 to 10. I'm sorry, he went from 55 to 45. My apologies. But if you go back and look, like people were saying, oh, the offensive line's terrible. Russ is constantly getting sacked. Yeah, because he's running himself into those sacks. He's doing that. It ain't the offensive line. If you go on the PFF, they credited, I think, like out of those 45 sacks, 13 of them were on the offensive line. The rest of them were on Russ for bailing out too early. Like, that would drive any offensive minded coach, any offensive line, just crazy. Like, what are you doing, bro? Just stay in the pocket. You have a clean pocket. Step up, sit there, throw the ball. And a lot of people were defending Russ in that kind of, they were defending him saying, oh, the offensive line just terrible. No, it was ranked seventh by PFF last year. They were good. They did their job. The reason why Russ was sacked so many times because the majority of the time it was on him for bailing out too early. So I can't for the life of me understand why. Like even the Steelers, even giving him the vet minimum, why would you want that on your team? He's not a team guy. He's not a locker room guy. I mean, he's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a nice guy. But when you go
Weird.
out there and you put your offensive line in that kind of position, they're gonna not like Russ too much by the end of it. I guarantee you, if Russ does play the entire season in Pittsburgh, that entire offensive line and receivers, mind you, are gonna be like this.
But I mean,
Just
that
like
tells you, Eddie. I mean, even like former Seahawks players were saying all these things, and I was like, why are they like Sherman? Like, I'm like, why are they saying that? Like, what's going on? But he's a very odd guy. I'd say that he's odd. Away from like football and everything, he's very odd. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
It's
but I just think Russ, like I said, he's not a bad guy. He's a nice dude. I just don't think I just don't think he ever was like he loved football 100%. I really don't. Because if you do and you love football that much, you're gonna, do what you can. You're gonna, help your teammates. You're gonna, get along with the guys in the locker room to make it a great work environment. I think a lot of this hostility, like especially you seen come out of Seattle after we traded for him, like what you said with Richard Sherman and some of the other guys in Seahawks
Jason.
uniform, you see him come out and attack Russ, and you're like, well, originally when he came here and they were doing that, we're like, why? He's a nice guy. What's the
Yeah.
problem? And then after 2 years of him being here in Denver, and you go back and look at all these tapes of these guys saying, what they said, it's like, okay, yeah, I understand it now. He might be a nice guy. He might be, the guy you can talk to, blah, blah, blah. But he's just not a very good football player. He's gonna put the team, he can't put the team on his back, and he's gonna put his offensive line and his coach in bad positions. Like the coaches are going to call good plays for him to make plays, and the offensive line is going to protect for him. He's just going to bail out early, not read the play, not read the defense, and just take a sack and put his team behind the sticks and lose games for his team. Like, what more can you act like? You for a guy of Russell Wilson's caliber that's won a Super Bowl, been to two, making $250 million, 12 years experience, you should be able to read a defense. You should be able to be like, hey, this guy's coming off the edge over here. You should be able to hit those timing routes. I understand he's short, but we've seen, what's his name? Tua. We seen him do it last year. He's just as short as Russ. We seen him hit guys over the middle. Heck, there was the game where they hung 70 on us, the Dolphins. I hate to bring that up, but that first touchdown they scored, you see, and Tyreek Hill's a short guy. He's not tall, so Tua probably couldn't see him very well. You see Tyreek Hill come screaming across the field, and what's Tua do? Boom, hits him in stride over the middle. Touchdown.
Easy.
And you can't sit there and say, oh, well, Mike, McDaniel put him in that position. He made that play. Blah, blah, blah. Well, Sean Payton did the same thing, and just Russ couldn't do it. I mean, do you feel the same about that, Mohamed?
Absolutely. I mean, I think he wasn't like patient. That's one thing. And like you said, he will just bail out. He's not patient. And I think like maybe it was hard for him to process a lot of things. Maybe it was just too much for him. Couldn't handle. I don't know what's going to happen with him on the Steelers because I think he's going to be their starter, right?
I believe Mike Tomlin came out and said, yeah, he will be
Yeah.
the starter week 1. Which is why I hope to God we play them here in Denver week 1. Because
I think the NFL is going to do that, Eddie. I think it's going to be week.
If you wait until later in the season, I don't think by week 7, I don't think Russ is going to be starting for the Steelers. I think they're going to see enough. Like he'll go there. They're going to run the ball. They're a defensive team. They're going to probably play defense. They're going to run the ball, but there's going to be some plays in those first like 6-7 weeks. They're going to ask Russ to make a throw. He's going to screw it up, put the Steelers back, and they're just going to be like, you know what? Mike Tomlin's going to be like, enough is enough.
Let's get out.
That's why I want the Broncos to like. If the Broncos, we know they're going to play the Steelers. I hope they do it earlier in the season. That way, Russ is going to be the starter, and we know for a fact we're going to play him because, like I said earlier in this video, man, I would love it for them to come to Denver because we know the Steelers are coming to Denver. Like that's one of their home games. Week 1, opening night, Sunday, Monday night here in Denver, which you best believe I will be at that game. Bo Nix just lights up the sky, and here's Russ. Just walking off, and I hope we win. I hope Bo Nix gets like 24 points, gets the offense like 24 points. And I hope the same thing happens to Russ and Pittsburgh as what happened with us and Russ last year with the Jets. They're trying to drive down the field to score a touchdown, and we just come in and we strip the freaking ball and pick it up and run it in for 6. That would be the icing on top of the cake for me.
He's going to be so confused as what happened.
Like what? What? I didn't see that guy coming. Yeah, because you can't read a defense. But Mohamed, we've been going at this for an hour. We talked about a lot, got through a lot tonight. I had a lot of fun, but I think that's all we're going to talk about tonight. Everybody, thanks for joining in tonight and watching the video. If you enjoyed what you see, please like, comment, subscribe on this video. Please go over and subscribe to Colorado Sports Connection. And me and Mohamed, we're on every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So please come in next week and join us. And Mohamed, it was great having you on tonight, man. We got through a lot.
Likewise, absolutely. Like I said, man, the future is bright. We got our quarterback. We have the coach. Everything is going to be going smoothly. That's how I feel.
I agree.
Yeah.
10-7, baby. I hope that's what we get this year. Make the playoffs with Bo Nix.
Yeah,
and destroy Russ and the Raiders.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, can't wait for that Raiders game. Can't wait.
All right, Mohamed. Well, it's been good talking to you, buddy, and I will see you again next week.
All right. Peace out.
Later, guys.